Massachusetts cannabis businesses are surrendering licenses at an alarming rate. The rate at which cannabis businesses are surrendering licenses has picked up rapidly in the past year as the industry faces economic and regulatory headwinds. Since last September, 4 retail licenses have been either surrendered, not renewed, or revoked. In the entire 5 years since the legal cannabis industry sparked up in Massachusetts prior to September 2023, just 5 licenses had been surrendered by local businesses. On the non-retail side, which includes manufacturing and growing, 26 non-retail licenses have been surrendered, revoked, or not renewed over the past year. And over the previous 5 years, only 11 such licenses were surrendered, which is pretty huge. It sounds like people are running out of the Massachusetts cannabis business at a very alarming rate. We know that the regulatory body has not done a good job with regulating cannabis in Massachusetts. We know that there's been a lot of struggles with quality, with employee relations. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys, but it sounds like Massachusetts maybe wasn't the winner they thought it was going to be.
Man, a whole bunch of massholes just giving up their licenses, huh?
They're up out of there, Jake.
Yeah, they're just giving them up instead of trying to get rid of them or sell them. They're just abandoning them.
Maybe they don't really have any value, Todd.
Yeah, so I do a lot of M&As, and you'd be surprised how little people are getting for cannabis licenses. I've got turnkey facilities going for $150,000.
Oh,
look
at that, Todd. It's definitely not Vegas.
A good deal.
Huh? Definitely not Vegas.
I think
definitely.
Would you like
Vegas.
one?
No.
You know what I would like? I would like us to remember that a license is not a license. A license is but one factor in what is being either surrendered, sold, M&A'd. A license, is it on real estate owned? Is it a lease? How good is the lease? What is the technology within the facility? Are they using ancient technologies and inefficient energies, or is it tip of the technology curve? And so I just think that it's really important to remember that sometimes the reason why people are surrendering a license is because they got janky equipment and a janky lease, and there's things besides the license itself that are impacting the value or desirability of that particular asset.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as someone that's done extensive work in Massachusetts, I would say that it might not be a lot of the established operating businesses that are relinquishing their licenses, but maybe it's some of these social equity applicants that got their applications put to the top of the stack, got a license, and that couldn't fund their opportunity. And I think that's probably the more common thread here with a lot of these relinquishments. So it sucks, it sucks. The money dried up. People were scared to invest in some of these businesses. I think Massachusetts is actually a pretty good market. And so I'd have to say that now it's just being more consolidated, and the operators there that are operating, that are in good standing, are going to reap the reward. So this is just typical. This is how it works. This is how it works in a free market. If you can't pay for it, you can't operate. So, the guys that can will, and they will survive. They will thrive.
I'd be really interested to see, because they weren't just licenses that weren't renewed or were relinquished, right? There were revocations too. So I'd be interested in seeing who was revoked and what those reasons were. Because there was 27 is a lot to go down in a year when you're looking at 11 previously.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know what, you're right about that, Jenny, and Saman, you're right about what you said too. And I wish that there was a designation to say how many of these were these social equity licenses of this 27 that were given up, because we know of a few people that couldn't maintain their licenses because they couldn't maintain their leases.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen in a lot more states than just Massachusetts. So. We'll see. We're going to see more of a shakeup than ever before, but Mass is still going strong. I mean, I have a lot of really good friends that are operating there that are crushing it. Shout out to them. Shout out to Resonate. Shout out to Regenerative. Really good homies of mine. So.
Mass Genetics out there.
Oh, Pistol Pete. We got to shout out Alex and Pete. Come on now.
Yes.
Were they dispensaries? Were they dispensaries or cultivations that closed down?
Both. So there were less retail stores that closed down, but there were 27 licenses that were non-retail licenses that closed down.
Mm-hmm.
Must be the janky equipment.
Wow.
So that 27 represents what percentage of the total licenses issued in the state, right? Because that's also an important metric.
I don't know, Yarrow. You're going to have to do the math for me. I'm too sick.
It's like 1%, Yarrow. It's not a lot. It's still there's still plenty of active licenses, but we also have to just differentiate between the license types. Like if there's one grow that has multiple licenses to contain more square footage or whatever. And there's probably still a lot of businesses that are building out to be these big super, monoliths there. So I don't think like the story's over for Mass. I don't even think people have stopped building bigger grows and bigger, facilities. So I don't know what to say, but it's obvious that there's a lot of lack of funding and a lot of lack of resources for some of these business owners, and they just got to the end of the road.
Well, and it may not even be a lack of resources. Boston and that area is a bunch of finance bros who probably smoke weed and got the license and don't know what the fuck to do with it.
As of 2024, there's 427 licensed cultivators.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, Rico.
They put out 4.2 million pounds of harvested cannabis annually.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jason. I would say I would want to see how many of these are social equity, because they got the rawest, they got the worst deal in the entire land of social equity.
They got raw dogged.
Those guys, they got fucked, and they got fucked bad. And I think it was up until about like 6 months ago, they had to pay for 2 drivers. So not only did they all have to give a massive cut. Social equity licenses were a lot of the social equity licenses were these delivery licenses that they had to give a cut to actual brick and mortar owners. But also on top of that, they had to employ 2 drivers a time and have them on the vehicle at all times. So they're just getting screwed. They're getting bled. And I would not be surprised if a bunch of these were, at least on the retail side, the ones that were retail, I wouldn't be surprised if they were all social equity.
I wouldn't.
Well, there's 4 of them. You could check pretty easily.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Low blows.
Actually make a couple calls, man, because
I'm sure there's a website.
Yeah, we were not able to get them on board with us because they couldn't afford shit. Like literally.
Ouch.
Shit's pretty cheap.
I mean, when people are giving their licenses away, just turn them back in. They definitely, you know what I mean? Are they even worth the paper they're printed on is the question.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, Massachusetts. It's like you said, Simon. Like it'll be fine in the end of in the end. It just won't look like they said it's gonna look like.
Look, the cannabis game is not a game of growing and selling weed. It's a game of survival. You gotta survive, baby. You gotta get out there, and you have to be able to manage your funding and manage your resources so that you can make it to the end. And here we are. It's a game of attrition, people. We gotta make it.
Free market ain't free.
Nope.
Fair enough. And on that, we're gonna roll into a commercial, and we're gonna be right back.